Hello again, Di here, and I hope you're doing well. So I've just wrapped up the Militia finale. That's all the encounters added and debugged across 5 maps that the finale can play out over. So the focus for the next couple of months will be the Rebel finale, along with making the maps more interesting with small encounters and loot. And then it'll finally be time for early access. So while working on the finale, I've added code to allow computer-controlled characters to attack specific objects or to spend AP activating those objects to allow for improved encounter variety. I've also developed the trap mechanics and added code to equip a faction's troops. Debugging these encounters at a fair bit of time, so I'd expect the Rebel finale will be quicker to complete. In terms of artwork, Olga's been working on some of the art for the key characters. So you can see, hopefully, the art for Ferdia Beckett here. I really like the atmospherics and the lighting in this. And we can also see Marcus Tiber, the sheriff of Sunny Pines, in this artwork. So to move on to some spoiler light information about the Militia finale, and I'll go into more depth later on, which will include spoilers, but I'll warn you first. So the finale starts after recruitment, crafting, and purchasing of equipment for the Militia. So that happens here. It just tells you that you've 3 time units and 1100 script remaining, which is the local currency. So you have all the different options here, whether it's crafting options, preemptive strikes, which are already done. You can trade with the arms dealer, persuade the mayor to print more currency. So you have a range of options here, and you wrap these up with by clicking on the conclude faction management. So after that happens, Sunny Pines will come under attack by a substantial rebel force. And these will attack different districts with different attacks, including a head-on attack on the main gate, which is what you're just reacting to now. Reports of an attack on the main gates. They will also attempt to encourage rioting within Sunny Pines. They'll attack infrastructure and do some other things. So if you're defeated in any of these fights, you regroup with what remains of the leadership in the militia for a last-ditch defense. And if you win the battle, you'll push back the rebels and launch an attack on their HQ. If you lose this final battle, Sunny Pines will fall under rebel control, and you'll move on to Act 2. Okay, so we're getting into spoiler territory now. I'll go through a little bit of the various encounters that the finale is made up with. So here, what you're dealing with is a group of rebels that are firing on the gate guard. And currently your party consists of you, Ferdia Beckett, and Marcus Tiber. So if you pass a tactics check here, you'll figure out that you know that there's only a small number of skilled marksmen in the rebels. You can see that they're engaging for extreme range and based on the rate of fire and in small numbers. So you figure out this is a diversion. So then it gives you 3 options. You can either assist the gate guard against these small number of rebels. You can patrol Cosner, which is, for want of a better name, the local jail. Or you can patrol Homestead Heights, which is kind of the centre of industry in Sunny Pines. So I'm going to go to Homestead Heights. Now, with that, basically the rebellion goes on over a number of phases. So if you come to, say, Homestead Heights immediately, the rebellion will still be considered to be in phase 1. So you'll have an easier run of it here, where it's actually much more difficult than the gate, these encounters. Whereas if you fight in the gate, that will effectively be phase 1 of the rebellion, and when you arrive here, it'll be in phase 2. So depending on which map it is, in this map in particular, there will be more rioters if you're in phase 2 than in phase 1. So what you've got here is a pretty severe riot kicking off. And I'm going to close in. And what you've got is a group of citizens closing in on a group of militia who are protecting the cannery, which you obviously use for preserving goods or preserving food for the colder months. And here, a medicine check that basically figures out that the people are kind of on the wrong side of drink and anger to have any sort of for reason to be anyway effective on them. And one of them suggests that you smash up the cannery. Now, that last skill check indicates that this probably isn't a good move, because so you're left with two other choices. So I'm going to go with the intimidation choice. And so basically, just as you're about to sort of lay on some menace, Marcus Tiber kind of springs forward and knocks someone out. So that's, -1. And another one of the rioters leaves the rear of basically slinks off from the rear of the formation. And now to complicate things a little more, you've got a group of rebels moving in on this other entrance. And you've got to check here, this is a really high agility check, which I'm unable to meet. But if you basically have this agility high enough, you can run here and lock the door before the rebels get in. And that'll force them to come all the way around here. So it'll give you a bit of time to deal with the people that are already here. And then you'll get to deal with the rebels. But I can't do that. So the only option will be to fight them. So I'm not going to go through each one of these fights. It would take a very long time. But there's this plus one other encounter in this area to wrap up this area. And so here I've gone directly to Khosra rather than fighting the rebels at the gate. So I'm going to pass on through here, and Tiber basically observes that this shouldn't be the case. The gate should be manned, and you also find out that it's locked. So you get a couple of options here. You can lockpick, you can use prowess to try and bash the gate. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'll advance up towards the main building here. Now what I've basically got here is a hostage situation. Got a rebel holding a militia hostage and threatening to kill them. So if you pass a tactics check, you'll realise that this guy's buying time for something that's happening inside the building. And that will give you a superior option in the upcoming challenge. So that opens up the distract and demoralize option, which will reduce the requirements for either passing the intimidate or the firearms check. Now, it's not particularly relevant at the minute because I can pass them, but the three options here, you can intimidate the rebel, you can, with a very high firearms check, take out the rebel without injuring the militia, or you can take out the rebel with no regard to the militia's safety. So I'm going to go ahead with the intimidate option. And you'll learn from this rebel that they got into Khosra, which is surrounded by cliffs on three sides, using climbing gear, and that they're led by Gardena, the old world postal robot that is woken up and sort of driven most of this action. So you let the rebel walk away, and that also adds the militia to your party for the rest of this encounter. Okay, so when we go into the Khosra, we can see there's been a pretty violent mess here, and basically any militia that you had stationed would be, or that you had recruited, they'd be divided out between the various areas. And for each militia, they will have reduced the number of attacking rebels by that count. I think the first two weren't counted on the basis that it's kind of a surprise attack. But after that, each militia you have will reduce the number of rebels that you have to face by one. Even though, they'll have fought and died. So let's see. So Tiber basically advances. And what you've got here, basically Gardena is using a fire axe to break into the armory. And once again, remember, if we talk about the rebellion, the phase 1, the phase 2, since this is phase 1, you've come here directly, the machine hasn't broken into the armory. So that means that the inmates that they're trying to release will be less well equipped. If you come here in phase 2, the armory's busted open, and the inmates you have to fight, they'll have much better equipment. They'll have basically militia, what the militia's equipment is available. And you can see here that basically this rebel has a keys, and they're going to try and release as many of these inmates or prisoners as they possibly can. And each one of them, so there's only one other rebel because of the amount of militia you had, but there's you could potentially have to fight that plus 8 if you don't take out this character middling quickly. So now you get the option to either storm the room or you get to try something else. Now in storming the room, it'll tell you that the rebels are intensely focused on releasing inmates, and they basically haven't placed a sentry. So this will allow you to reposition 5 tiles before combat starts. That'll allow you to probably get into cover before combat starts. And you have a choice whether to go proceed or back. I'm going to go for something else. So basically this encounter will start if you get too close to the rebels. So, but if you go this way, we go through this room. So you push the door, you slowly open the door, freeze at the sight of the rebel who's facing away, manipulating something on the table. The Tiber stalks past you like a great red wildcat. He pounces, sealing the rebel's mouth shut with one hand, locking the other elbow around his prey's throat. The rebel's struggle is as brief as it is futile. So that's one enemy down if you pick that route. So then you can carry on through here, and you'll be much closer now. So once you start the combat, basically you go into this area, you're spotted now, and this will raise the alarm. You get to move a couple of tiles. I don't think it's as many tiles, or maybe it is, but I meant to reduce that. So you can reposition a couple of tiles still before combat, but this is definitely a more advantageous way because you've a shot at getting this character before they get too much, before they release too many. Now, to release a prisoner, they basically have to travel to the entrance of each cell, and they've to spend, I think it's maybe 5 AP or something like that. So they could roughly release one every turn. Now this could become a pretty big problem if you don't manage it quickly. This is kind of this is like sort of what some of the, what a lot of the time was burned up on things like this, getting these characters to move around, open these doors, and just the kind of intricacy of, all the different options that you have in dealing with these encounters. So that's where, quite a lot of the time went. You could make, I could make this game much more quickly, but I want to try and do the best job I can with it. So I'm not going to go through this fight, but I will check in with you again sometime in June. And if you have any comments, questions or suggestions, please do let me know and I'll get back to you.